All right, so as continuation of our Joe Biden coverage, this is a very important part of his campaign. So Joe Biden has been given a lot of heat for the way that he treated Anita Hill when he was the Senate Judiciary Committee. I believe that's what the committee is, and that he was the chairman of that committee. He's the chairman. He's the equivalent of Chuck Grassley during the Brett Kavanaugh hearings, where Chuck Grassley was the one who was in charge of everything and had the lead, basically. He was that person, and I actually went back and watched parts of the Anita Hill hearing. It's remarkable to me because every single person who's questioning her was an old white guy. So it's like coming from the perspective of someone who's always been in usually the position of power, and there's no man of color, there's no woman of color, there's no women. Period. Not a single one on the committee. And there's this black woman who's basically, I don't even know how much bravery it took to do that. Holy smokes! But he also tried calling her because obviously, and he'll talk about that here, because of political expediency, of course, and she did not accept what he said. And here's why. He was on The View. He went to talk about this. I'm going to play this video for you guys.
She took my call. For as long as I have, I don't know why it took you so long to call her. I wish it had happened earlier.
Well, I tell you what the deal was. I did not, since I had publicly apologized for the way she was treated, I'd publicly said it, I publicly had given credit for her, the contribution she made to begin to change this culture in a significant way, that what I didn't want to do, and I didn't want to, quote, invade her space. I didn't want to get in a situation where
Total
this became,
bogey.
and then when I heard all this about and it was legitimate, expecting a call every time the phone rang, and so I spoke to some leading women advocates in this area, someone knew her, and I said, could you see whether she'd take my call?
Yeah.
And I was grateful she took my call.
I think what she wants you to say is, I'm sorry for the way I treated you, not for the way you were treated. I think that might be closer.
Well, but I'm sorry the way she got treated. In terms of, I never heard say, if you go back and look what I said and didn't say, I don't think I treated her badly. I took on her opposition, what I couldn't figure out how to do, and we still haven't figured it out.
Yeah.
How do you stop people from asking inflammatory questions?
So, again, this is a big problem with Joe Biden is he's refusing to actually apologize to Anita Hill. And this is what he keeps saying. He keeps saying, I apologize for the way she was treated, not that I apologize for the way I treated her, because he basically allowed the questions and the comments to be very inflammatory, as he says there. And also, I believe Anita Hill said that there were a couple witnesses that Joe Biden didn't actually allow to come forward. Whether, I don't know if it was for time constraints or however he had scheduled it or whatever. And Anita Hill has quite a few grievances against Joe Biden for what he did. And some of the questions were really dumb coming from the old white guys that were asking her. Where there was like one question, I think, I forget if it was from Alan Simpson or if it was from someone else. But it was something like, basically, why did you keep working for him even after he was sexually harassing you? Which is a dumb question, because the way that it works is that's not how it works, right? Like, people will continue to work and do those kinds of things despite what happens to them. Just because they do that doesn't mean it didn't happen. And it's a sort of weird way of kind of victim like blaming in a way. It's very odd. And it's like there's I think Anita Hill said it was something that like you'd need a psychologist to explain or something like that. But obviously that's not, just because they kept working doesn't mean that, in fact, that kind of honestly makes the situation worse, because they continue to do that under the pressure that they were under. And Clarence Thomas, his talk was basically like Candace Owens' talk, where he called it a high-tech lynching. It's like, dude, why are you doing this weird racial emotional appeal? This has nothing to do with that. You're clearly a sexual harasser, and you shouldn't be put on the court for that. And honestly, Clarence should be impeached. I mean, not only is he a shitty-ass Supreme Court justice, but he's also a sexual harasser. I mean, I totally believe Anita Hill. She stood by her comments to this day as well, by the way, just so you know. And it totally, I totally believe her 100%. And this is a big reason as to why Joe Biden will not win, especially in the era of Brett Kavanaugh and the era of Me Too. Now, the thing is that lib shits are really dumb, so they might actually support him anyways, because I've seen a lot of people on Twitter who are lipshits who are apologizing for the things that Joe Biden has been doing, the creepy stuff that he does with women and kids. So maybe I'm even wrong on that.